The NASCAR offseason may only be just 7 weeks away, but it's still not stopping drivers from swapping teams already. So in light of that, in this video I'll go over the small history of NASCAR trades, some in-season where the drivers would swap cars, and some coming during the off-season where the drivers would swap teams. So without wasting any time, we'll start with the more recent one. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was a Roush development driver through the late 2000s and early 2010s, running in both the ARCA and Nationwide series for the team. After winning back-to-back Nationwide championships, Stenhouse would be moved up to the 17 full-time in the Cup Series for 2013, replacing Matt Kenseth at the sinking ship known as Roush Fenway Racing. While Stenhouse would struggle on the spiraling Roush team, collecting just 2 superspeedway wins in 7 full-time seasons, both coming in 2017, he was still the team's franchise driver throughout the mid to late 2010s. So it was no surprise when Stenhouse announced in mid-2019 that his contract he had with the team lasted through 2021. What was a surprise would come just a month later, when Roush instead chose another past champion of his to drive for him, this time being Chris Buescher, who would take over driving the number 17 starting in 2020. Shortly after losing his ride, the trade would be complete, with Stenhouse signing a deal to drive with JTG Doherty Racing, replacing Chris Buescher. The team would open off 2020 with a pole at the Daytona 500, and a third-place run at Las Vegas the next week, but it would be downhill from there, finishing 20th or worse in 6 of the next 7 races. Talladega was another highlight for the struggling team, as Stenhouse would come close to getting his 3rd career win, but instead lost by just 7 1/1000ths of a second to Ryan Blaney. No more top 10s would follow this run, leaving him at just 4 to end the year, with a whopping 8 DNFs in his debut season, living up to the name Ricky Stenhouse. 2021 saw a more consistent Stenhouse, improving his average finish by 3 positions from the year prior, yet managing to cut his top 10 total in half, while also only collecting 1 top 5 during the season, a 2nd place run at the first Bristol Dirt race. The new next-gen car came into NASCAR with the goal of creating parity in racing. However, while NASCAR did create what they wanted, the effect wouldn't trickle down to the 47 team. 9 DNFs destroyed any chance this team had at improving from 2021, dropping his average finish and his position in the standings. His 2nd place run at Dover would be their lone top 5 of the year, but it would start a streak of 4 top 10s in a row, which would end up being all but one of his top 10 runs in 2022. The following season would start off with the highlight of Ricky Stenhouse's career.
Now that energy's all broke up now. Now we're going to see the cars coming from behind.
Where's he going to go? They're both going to get to him pretty hard, pretty quick.
All right, Stenhouse gets the white flag.
Stuck in the middle.
Flag ends it. 3 wide. Chevy, Ford, Stenhouse, Logano. Here is how this will be decided. It is not the flag, it is not the caution lights. It is NASCAR's decision as to where.
Winning the Daytona 500 immediately put Stenhouse into the playoffs for the first time since joining JTG, and made it to where no matter what happened during the season, it was still a successful year. Stenhouse backed up this win by matching his career high in top 10s and average finish at 17.8, while also only having 3 DNFs, his lowest in a season since his rookie year, where he managed to complete every race. No idea how that works. Unfortunately, Stenhouse would finish dead last in the 2023 playoffs, and it hasn't gotten much better so far in 2024. Regressing back to his career norms, dropping his average finish, and already having more DNFs this year than the year prior. On the other side of the trade, Buescher would come out of the gates hot for Roush, doubling his career high in top 10s with 8, and having a chance to win the fall Talladega race before being blocked by the 20 car, who forgot he wasn't in the lead. 2021 would be a slight improvement over the previous year, as Buescher collected his first ever stage win early in the season at Homestead, driving from 12th to win the first stage, but falling back later in the race and finishing 19th. Outside of being DNQ'd from their 2nd place run during the summer Daytona race, the 17 team remained mostly quiet throughout 2021, but changes were soon on the horizon for the team. Midway through the year, it was announced that Brad Keselowski would join Roush Fenway Racing as part owner and part driver for 2022, hoping to return Roush back into what it was in the mid to late 2000s. Buescher's 2022 is his best year up to that point, being in the hunt to win multiple races before finally capturing his first win with RFK Racing.
Chris Buescher is showing what kind of a driver he is. And now the white flag is out. One more time around for Chris Buescher here at Bristol. 2 more turns of the Bass Pro Shops night race. Chris Buescher will win his 2nd Cup Series race, and it happens in Bristol.
However, it wasn't all perfect for Buescher. DNFing 7 times and missing the playoffs, it still left more to be desired for next season. Chris Buescher would break out in 2023, setting career highs in every category, while also winning 3 times, coming at Michigan, Richmond, and Daytona, with the first 2 being back-to-back wins. Buescher would make the playoffs for the first time, and the same year Stenhouse would make his playoff debut for his new team, making it all the way to the round of 8 before being eliminated swiftly after Martinsville, wrapping up the season 7th in points. In 2024, Buescher would miss the playoffs, after losing in the closest finish in NASCAR history, being walled for the win at Darlington a week later, and being top 12 in the overall standings, but being bested by the 32nd place driver in points Harrison Burton, and others. But a win at Watkins Glen saved the season from being a total letdown. As of now, the trade worked out great for Roush. Saving money on torn up cars and getting better results is all a team owner could ever want when hiring a new driver. For JTG, it was a solid deal, which landed them a Daytona 500 and their franchise driver for many years to come. The next trade on this list comes from Richard Childress Racing and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, as during the 2003 season, the 2 teams would swap drivers mid-season. Following his 2000 Busch Series championship, Jeff Green would be moved up to the RCR number 30 car part-time in 2001 with pretty lackluster results. Surprisingly, Childress would move him to full-time for 2002, where he would hold his own in the series, having multiple impressive runs throughout the year, including a runner-up at New Hampshire and a 3rd at Richmond, along with 2 other top 5s, leaving him 17th in the standings at season's end. Even more surprising was the fact that in his first full-time Cup Series season, he would beat out the franchise driver at that point, Kevin Harvick, in the standings during his sophomore season. But 2003 would be a different story for Jeff Green, as he was unable to come anywhere close to that. Green began the year by winning the pole for the Daytona 500, along with a 7th place run at Texas Motor Speedway. But otherwise, he failed to finish higher than 20th and sat 31st in the standings after the 10th race of the year at Fontana. The next week at Richmond, Jeff Green would get into an incident with teammate Kevin Harvick.
Green spins around. He collects Jason Keller. Jeff Green just made a beeline to his teammates, picked Kevin Harvick at the 29 and started poking his crew chief Todd Berry in the chest.
It was all good. Got back to the bottom racetrack and 29 run over me. And I don't know. I'm sure he's going to have a different story, but I know what happened. He spun me out, so supposed to be teammates, but it seemed like there's only one car at RCR.
Richard Childress Racing would fire Jeff Green immediately after on May 5th, and by the next weekend Green was with DEI to drive the 1 car replacing Steve Park. Green joining a new team would fare him no better, seeing him collect a best finish of 16th while being replaced at the road course races by Ron Fellows. After the 25th race of the year, and just 12 races into his time with the team, Green would be replaced by John Andretti for the remainder of 2003. Steve Park would go on to drive the 30 for RCR, previously being let go from DEI after suffering multiple injuries, which ruined his tenure with the team. After wins in 2000 and 2001, 2002 would be a disaster, collecting just 2 top 10s and 5 DNFs on his way to a 33rd place points finish, with the exception that he missed 4 races recovering from injury. 2003 would start off poorly for Steve Park, sitting 33rd in the standings with 1 top 10 and 3 DNFs after 11 races, before being let go from the team that gave him his big break in the Cup Series. A change of scenery at RCR would not help Park improve his season, collecting just 2 top 10s for the team and even DNQing for the fall Talladega race. He would end his full-time Cup Series career a disappointing 32nd in the standings. Neither driver would sign back with the team they were traded to for the following season, and as for the time they spent with their new teams, it was a disaster, making this a losing trade for both teams. The third trade again includes Richard Childress Racing, this time doing a trade with Stewart-Haas Racing. In 2012, it was announced that longtime driver Kevin Harvick would depart from Richard Childress Racing following the 2013 season, after being there for over a decade since 2001, garnering 23 wins in that time frame. Harvick would be joining Stewart-Haas Racing, who would be getting rid of one of the organization's first drivers who had been there since the first race in Ryan Newman. Kevin Harvick wouldn't take long to get acclimated with his new team, winning in just his second race of the year at Phoenix and dominating fashion, leading 224 laps. Another win during the Southern 500 would complete the regular season for the 4-car, capturing 2 wins, but certainly should have been more. The wins would finally start coming together for Harvick when it mattered most, winning 3 times in the playoffs on his way to his first career championship at season's end.
Newman trying to stay with Harvick, trying to find a way around him. 2 more corners to go to a championship for Kevin Harvick. He's going to do it. He's going to win the race and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. California's Kevin Harvick does it.
The winning would continue, as over the next decade Harvick would accumulate 32 more wins while driving for Stewart-Haas Racing, bringing his total to 37 when it was all said and done. His lone championship in 2014 could have been the first of many, but thanks to the playoff format, and an all-time choke in 2020, don't forget that, he blew that one. After posting 9 wins, it would leave him with just 1 championship when he hung up his helmet. Anyways, back to 2013. Ryan Newman would go on to join an RCR team that was being held together by duct tape and sticky tack with Kevin Harvick's departure, and he would come close to a championship in his first season. However, it wasn't meant to be, as in a weird twist, the only thing that stopped him from getting his first championship was his previous ride. Each year at RCR would get progressively worse for Ryan Newman, dropping from 2nd in points in 2014 to 11th in 2015 to 18th in 2016. Still searching for his elusive first win with the team, and RCR's first win since Kevin Harvick's departure all the way back in 2013, Ryan Newman would collect his final career win at Phoenix.
Gaining from the 31 in Newman.
Newman is set sail, boys. I tell you, he's got a nice lead. They're not going to catch him.
3 wide mid-pack, but out front, Ryan Newman, Kyle Larson to be second again.
So close, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Off turn 4, hello Newman. Ryan Newman wins for Richard Childress Racing. Larson, Kyle Busch, a photo finish for Keselowski and Stenhouse. Give 4th to Stenhouse, 5th to Keselowski, 6th to Harvick.
2018 would round out this trade, with Ryan Newman missing the playoffs before going to Roush Fenway Racing, and Kevin Harvick being a part of the Big 3, which took over the NASCAR Cup Series that season. Stewart-Haas absolutely won this trade, getting a future Hall of Famer in the prime of their career, virtually jump-starting their late 2010s domination, while RCR would end up struggling as an organization for many years to come, just barely getting out of the hole finally with Tyler Reddick and Kyle Busch. For the final trade in the video, we go back to 2012, where Furniture Row Racing and Phoenix Racing completed a mid-season trade. Regan Smith began driving for Furniture Row in 2009, part-time in the 78 car, before moving full-time for 2010 and again in 2011, where Smith and the team would shock the NASCAR world and earn both of their first wins, technically.
Boy, Regan got off to the turn 2.
Oh, he hits the wall.
He's all right. He's okay. He got off there great.
But Edwards didn't jump inside.
They're all wrecking behind him, but it's okay. Can he hold him off? 1 more corner.
Here we come to the flag.
He's
Regan Smith looking for his first Sprint Cup win. Edwards 2 car lengths back. Smith gets the flag, and this time he'll get to keep it.
Smith again drove for the team in 2012 for the first 30 races. However, after Talladega, Regan Smith would lose his ride prior to when was expected at season's end, being dropped 6 races early for Cup champion Kurt Busch. Originally, Smith was supposed to take over the unsponsored number 51 at Phoenix Racing, replacing Kurt Busch immediately after, but instead Smith was signed on as a replacement driver for Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Charlotte in Kansas after Jr. suffered a mid-season concussion. Smith would finally complete the trade during the final 2 races of 2012, piloting the 51 car to a 24th and 30th place run at Phoenix and Homestead. Regan Smith wouldn't find a full-time ride in the Cup Series following this season, but would instead find a home driving for Junior Motorsports, while Furniture Row would begin its journey to becoming future Cup champions. As for a winner of this trade, it's definitely Furniture Row Racing, earning their first chase berth with Kurt Busch driving, while Phoenix Racing ended up shutting their doors the very next year. And those were the 4 trades I picked for this. If I didn't do one you personally liked, comment it below.
Not Corey LaJoy, please.
And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more.